Well, to begin, my name is Timothy Ballew Sr. I am from the Balt Celestine family. And when I speak of my family, I have to look back several generations. Not today, but several generations ago. Our great grandmother spoke about resilience on a daily basis, how they left Squim to come to this territory in a canoe. And she was a very amazing individual for me and for our family here in this territory. And with her stories was a testimony of what took place in our lifestyle and our way of life, I guess our shillangin. And she spoke of humility on a daily basis, which is a true, I guess, a definition of resilience. And without her, I'm not so sure where we would be as a community or as a family. And she left us words to continue the pathway for our role in our community, our role in our family. And it was a true blessing for me to sit in her living room every Sunday. She spoke of the natural world and the elements on a daily basis for us. She really wanted us to understand what was on the outside of her home and our home as we left every day to do something in our community. And with that, she taught us how to really listen and not overstep our boundaries with the natural world. She always talked about we need to listen to the animals, listen to the natural world, and talk to it. If we don't talk to it, it wouldn't talk back to us. And that's a testimony from somebody that was living in a very tough time. And I guess we may think we're in a tough time right now today. However, we have to always remember 2 or 3 generations ago what tough time was for them. If we didn't hear their stories, maybe we'd be feeling bad for ourselves today, and we shouldn't. I really believe we shouldn't. And as we communicate with our families today, I think this is the way it was maybe 60, 70 years ago in our community, in the families. You know, maybe we're not used to it today, but that's just the way it was not long ago. And I grew up in the old fishing village down at the Nooksack River. And it was different. We grew up with the natural world. We grew up with family, and we understood what we're supposed to do on a daily basis. Today, I'm not saying we don't understand it. We just don't practice it, I think, today. I see it in the younger generation. I see it on a daily basis. However, this whole situation the world's dealing with today, it's a blessing for me. I spend probably 3 or 4 hours with my grandboys, and we talk about everything that was told to me 60 years ago. And one of them wants to learn everything. The other one just wants to play, have a good time, which is good. At least they're not lost or they're not depressed. It's just part of the teaching, part of our role. And I've been blessed quite a bit the past couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, the natural world, an eagle's been coming to my driveway, sitting in my driveway, probably on a nightly basis. And I have to be honest, I don't know what it's telling me at right now, but maybe I'll understand it later on before too long. Resilience, yeah. It's telling us something. There's a reason why the air is so cold today. There's a reason why there's snow on the mountain today. I think it's part of the healing process that we need to understand as Indigenous people, as people of this territory. If we just live the way we used to live 4 months ago or a year ago, it just wouldn't be right. We need to adjust to the natural world. If we don't know how to adjust to the natural world and have that humility, are we a machine? It's a crazy thing to think we need to go back to the way it was a year ago. We can't. We shouldn't. We need to understand really what's taking place on a daily basis as Indigenous people, as people of this territory. You know, is it just that people have to suffer? No, I don't think so. I think we suffer because we believe that's what we need to do during these times. We need to really open our eyes and listen to our heart to see really what's going on. That's resilience as individuals. And, I feel bad for some people saying they're having a tough time. I think we hear and listen differently than we did 60 years ago in our community as Indigenous people. Coming from Northwest Indian College, that's one of the first things that I learned was what I hear from the members that come into my class. I truly believe no matter where they're from, they're an extension of my family, adopted family. In Indigenous communities, they say there's never an orphan. And I think we need to believe that. We need to practice that on a daily basis. However, we have to have expectations for these individuals. And sometimes you have to push them a little. But in the same breath, we have to praise them. In the same breath, we have to praise them and tell them they're doing a good job for themselves, not for me or not for Northwest Indian College. That's my way of thinking, being resilient. I understood what it was like when I was away. It's lonely feeling, but we're all survivors. Just like Lactamish, we're survivors of the Great Flood. There's a reason why that song is sung. Each song that is sung in every family member in this community has a reason to it. They don't just sing songs to sing songs, and they don't pray just to pray. We're passing on information that has been passed down for generation to generation. It's nothing new. All this oral history, I'm hoping Northwest Indian College practices oral history of who we are as Indigenous people. I see sometimes that we try to adopt things from the outside world, which may be good, but I served on the Lummi Indian Business Council for a number of years, and we adopted things, but we said, let's Lummyize it. Let's make it our own. Let's turn it into something that has value to it, not just adopt something. So we have that power to do that as Indigenous people. Is that resilience giving us that power? We all have a power in our lifestyle, and we need to understand that power before we utilize it, before we practice it. You know, growing up with her great grandmother, Aurelia Celestine, she talked about power. She talked about the power of everything that was outside her door. You know, I could remember her talking to us in her living room, 96 years old. She was rolling her cigarettes and smoking, telling us stories of what it's really like to be resilient, how you go out and gather food, really practice food sovereignty, how she'd jump in her canoe and travel for 10 days in a canoe as a 6, 7-year-old individual. That's resilience. She she remembered everything she did as a indigenous person, and she wanted to share that. She shared it for a reason. And you know, not long ago, they never added anything to their story. They never took nothing away from their story. We all have a story in our lifetime. Is it passed down? Do we, I guess I have to ask, do people believe we have an original thought today? Um, I see people think they have original thought, but we're oral people, and I hope we remember that. I don't want to say I know everything. I don't. However, I know what I was told. And, you know, I always told people, you know, even Emma, the department chair, said, Tim always talks about humility. You know, when we rise every morning, we have to practice humility. If we don't practice it, are we part of the European process as indigenous people? How we rise every morning, how we treat people every day. You know, I think if I treated somebody bad, I know my great grandmother would be watching me and telling me later on what I did wrong. We have to have that gift of hearing and listening. If we don't, is that true resilience for Northwest Indian College? Is that resilience in Indian country? I think we need to think about that. I hope we think about that. I wished I was the boss of my family and I would tell you what you're doing right and wrong. However, in our family, in the Balt Celestine family, the oldest female in the family is the boss. And I don't think I want to be the boss because it would be wrong, yeah? Because we've practiced this for 8 generations. And we have to remember why that took place. Is that resilience? Is that a democratic process? Is that an autocrat system? No, I don't think so. You know, the male, female both have resilience no matter where we come from. We need to understand that. And we need to teach that and listen to our people that attend Northwest Indian College. I think that first day of class, they're telling you their story. And from that, you need to build resilience for the rest of that quarter and stand them up and support them. You know, I was told my first couple days at Northwest Indian College when I arrived, lock your door. If they're late for class, don't let them in. Is that resilience? Is that an autocratic system? Is that the way we treat our people? I'm not so sure. I'm not that way. You know, resilience is family. If we have no family, what do we have? Um, I don't want to start preaching, or I don't want to tell you I guess when I think of resilience, I have to look at the story of the salmon woman. I hope people understand what the salmon woman is, that self-determination. We all have self-determination. That's resilience. When I speak of the salmon, their life is predetermined, yeah? And we have to understand that. They're they're part of our family. The story is through this man called Swatan, year 400. He talks about the salmon, the sockeye salmon, the salmon being part of our family, how we accept them, how we believe in them, and how we speak to them. That's true resilience, that true relationship. We need to remember these things, and sometimes we have to talk about it. We need to give that testimony to individuals, because when you do this, it wakes something up in that person that's listening or hearing. And if sometimes we have to tell it more than once today for some particular reason. Different generation. Resilience, when I was growing up, we were only told once. They told us, I'm only going to tell you once, I'm only going to show you once, and you have to understand that reason why these older people did that. But in the same breath, they said, never add to or never take away from this way of life. Um, I don't know. I can go into the real aspect of resilience and ceremony, but I don't know if we should. Um, is there questions? Do you guys believe that resilience is a made-up word? Um, I don't think there's a word in our language for resilience through Lakhtamish. However, the word Shalangan is everything we do as a people. We've been practicing it for so long. However, this word Shalangan, we need to understand in this community, this territory, there's not just one culture. That's resilience. The reason why there's not one culture is because of the homes that were in San Juan Island, the long homes. And we have to understand that. And I think that this is my hope. I truly believe Northwest Indian College needs to take the people attending Northwest Indian College to these homes to get sense of place, a grounding system, to understand really what's going on in Northwest Indian College. Resilience is Northwest Indian College. It was created for the people in this territory because we were harvesters. And, since then it's grown to serve greater people and give the people more power that they possess today. I guess that's resilience. I think I'm going to stop there, John. Um, but I want to thank you guys for your time. I truly, I resilience is the symposium. You know, we need to continue to talk about the story. The story is, what is it? I truly believe that I told this once before. I said, we need to storyboard every Sail Sea Speaker season, and that should be part of in service to Northwest Indian College. Um, Take a couple minutes from every speaker, even from the symposium. We need to take a blurb, and that should be part of in service. What did we hear, and how are we going to continue to carry on as a educational system. Um, that's enough for me, you guys. Go ahead and edit it.